Tibetan Buddhism is a religion with a rich cultural heritage that emerged from a wide range of spiritual practices. These include the complete scope of the Buddha's teachings from the Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana traditions. Different schools belonging to Tibetan Buddhism today include the Nyingma, founded by Padmasambhava, Kagyo, founded by Tilopa, Sakya, founded by Konchak Gyalpo, and his son Sachen Kyunga Nyangpo, and Gelug, founded by Tsongkhapa Lobsang Drakpa. The teachings of Tibetan Buddhism focus on mindfulness of death and the ephemeral nature of life, leading to diligence in meditation and spiritual practice. Mandalas, prayer flags, and thangka paintings are visual reminders for practitioners on the path. Born in the region of Derje in eastern Tibet in 1846, Mipham Rinpoche was identified as an extraordinary child. At the early age of 6, he was already memorizing texts, and by the age of 10, he started composing numerous writings. He became an ordinary monk of the Ogmin-Ogyen mind-rolling lineage when he was 12. It is said that he fully mastered the extremely difficult mind-rolling system of chanting at the age of 15 or 16, after studying it for only a few days and praying to Manjushri Bodhisattva. Mipham Rinpoche was a prolific writer, composing more than 35 books on topics ranging from medicine, poetry, in particular the Gesar epics, logic, cosmology, astrology, and divination, alchemy, painting and sculpture, and engineering. The Sword of Wisdom for Thoroughly Ascertaining Reality is one of his most important works and was written within a day in 1885. It comprises of 104 verses encompassing the two truths, the four principles of reasoning, valid cognition, the four reliances, and the 8 treasures of confidence. Though it is brief, its content is extraordinary. Through the 2 types of valid knowledge using referential reasoning, one will be able to comprehend the conventional truth and the ultimate truth. Today, we will continue with selections from the Sword of Wisdom for Thoroughly Ascertaining Reality by Mipham Rinpoche, Vegetarian, verses 1 to 68. Verses 35 to 68. There are reasons that are results and natural reasons. When a thing is not observed or its opposite is seen, something is negated for the reason that it cannot be observed. Like this, there are 3 types of evidence in all. From a genuine perspective, all appearances are now and always have been the same. And since a pure mind sees only purity, their nature remains entirely pure. Real functioning things dependently arise, and what is unreal is dependently imputed. Therefore, both the real and the unreal are empty by their very nature. In the way things are, one cannot separate a thing which is empty from its own emptiness. So appearance and emptiness are indivisibly united. This is inexpressible. One must know it for oneself. Any affirmation whatsoever it may be must affirm either existence or identity, and any negation whatsoever it may be must negate either existence or identity. Negations and affirmations based on what is valid may be set out definitively in the proper way, and then, while remaining logically consistent, one can prove a point to others or make a refutation. When it comes to refutation, you can compose your own syllogisms, including all 3 modes. or you can state the consequences that follow from the opponent's very own assertions. Within the conventional, there is that which we call impure and narrow vision, because reality and appearances do not coincide, and a vision in which things are purely seen. This makes two types of conventional validity, like seeing with eyes that are human and divine. The difference between the two lies in their essential natures, causes, results, and functions. One is an undeceived cognition of limited scope that arises from a correct perception of its object, clearing misperceptions of things in a narrow field of vision to bring a thorough apprehension of a given object. One is a pristine cognition of what is vast in nature that arises from an observation of precisely how things are. Clearing misperceptions of objects beyond the imagination to bring the result of wisdom that knows all there is. The Absolute as well has its two aspects, categorized and uncategorized conceptually, and then to evaluate them, two types of validity for looking into what is ultimately true. It is by relying on the former that one reaches the latter, like impaired vision that is healed and made pure. When the eye of valid cognition is fully developed, the truth of purity and equalness can be seen. It is because the mind, both the concepts and without, is sometimes deluded as when perceiving two moons, dreaming or believing a rope is a snake, and sometimes not, that we have the categories of valid and invalid cognition. Without these categories of valid and invalid cognition, a clear separation between the deluded and false and the undeluded and true would be impossible, and the tenets of philosophy could not be put forward. When we investigate on the level of reality, in spite of all these conceptual elaborations based on classifications such as direct perception, inference, valid and invalid cognition, and so on, all is empty by its very nature, and this natural simplicity itself is a feature of all conventional constructs, just as heat is property of fire. So it is that appearance and emptiness are inseparable in all phenomena, as the method and its outcome, which is why you cannot negate one and affirm the other. Without investigating what is and is not valid, but through mundane perception alone, can one enter into the ultimate? You may ask. It is true that this is not ruled out. Seeing how this thing is produced from that thing is the direct perception of ordinary people, based on which they infer and make predictions. In fact, this is pramana in all but name. Without the two kinds of conventional valid cognition, pure visions would seem false, and even for the impure, it would be unfeasible to say of a conch shell, white is its true color and yellow it is not. Without the two approaches to ultimate analysis, we would not know the unity of the two truths. The ultimate would fall into conceptual extremes and be a cause for its very own destruction. The relative that which is examined is not real. So too the probing mind and self-awareness. When we look, they are not there. Like the moon in water, this is the ultimate invisibility of the two truths. This is the one truth, nirvana, the limit of reality. It is the ultimate state of all phenomena. Enlightened being, wherein knowing and known are inseparable. Pure wisdom experience without limit or center. Once the excellent eye of discriminating wisdom has opened to the profound and vast like this, one sees the noble path traveled by the bliss-gone Buddhas and their heirs, those enlightened beings of mighty intelligence. This is the way of the sutra and mantra vehicles, so difficult to find. When we have the opportunity, let us not fail to gain the result. Possessing in this way the four reasonings, and endowed with the light of intelligence. Let us not be deceived by others, but investigate and be sure to follow the four reliances. If we do not have this understanding, then like a blind man leaning on his staff, we can rely on fame, mere words, or what is easy to understand, and go against the logic of the four reliances. Therefore, do not rely on individuals, but rely upon the Dharma. Freedom comes from the genuine path that is taught, not from the one who teaches it. When the teachings are well presented, it does not matter what the speaker is like. Even the bliss-gone Buddhas themselves appear as robbers and such like to train disciples. If he contradicts the Mahayana and so on, then however eloquent a speaker may seem, he will bring you no real benefit, like a demon assuming Buddha's form. Whenever you study or contemplate the Dharma, rely not on the words, but on their meaning. If the point is understood, it matters little how eloquently or not the words were spoken. Once you have understood what the speaker intended to communicate, if you then continue to think about each word and expression, it is as if your elephant is found, yet still you search. If you misinterpret the words, they will only increase, and you will never stop till you run out of thoughts, all the while straying further and further from the point. Like a child at play, you will only end up exhausted. Elated viewers, it has been a pleasure to have your company for today's words of wisdom.